Hey guys, Justin here with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and installing the Raxium Axial Series LED DRL headlights with the clear lenses, available for all 2006 to 2008 Ram 1500s. Now these headlights should appeal to the Ram owners out there who are looking to help freshen up that front end with an OE styled option in regards to basic overall layout and the clear lenses, but would like the added benefit of some modern touches such as the unique LED daytime running lights kind of in that C shape around the headlight itself. A few things to talk about here, guys, in addition to a relatively affordable price point, so let's get after it. So big features here with these particular lights from Raxium will be the factory fresh styling, but with the added bonus of those modern daytime running lights, all while being available for well south of $500 for the pair. Now, since a lot of these third gens are getting a little long in the tooth, parts like the factory headlights can really start to look rough after nearly 2 decades of use, and that's where a fresh set of lights really come into play. They can do wonders for making the front end and the entire truck basically look like new again, and really does go a long way for restoring an older truck. Now these options will hold true to that factory styling thanks to the combination of the chrome inner housing, topped off with that crystal clear lens, of course. Again, great pairing here for owners who really don't want to go down the path of going too over the top with something that's going to look very aftermarket. But again, the cherry on top here in this case, guys, will be the C-shaped modern daytime running lights. You can kind of make it out here framing up the headlight portion. Those guys will illuminate whenever the parking lights or the headlights are turned on and contribute to a very cool, very modern appearance with, again, not being too much or over the top. Now moving into our construction segment here, guys, and the Raxium Axial Series headlights do feature a very similar build quality to your factory headlights in a lot of different ways, including layout. For instance, you have your high and low beam reflector style housing right here. Immediately next door to it, you have your turn signal, in addition to that chrome housing with the clear lens. We've talked about that already, but that combination is always going to deliver more of an OE or factory look. Now, it's really hard to tell that the LED diffused bar has been even implemented into the headlights, and that's something I look, because even with the headlights off, they still retain that factory look. Guys, I always like to point things out, such as the fact that these do include brand new bulbs, so there's nothing to transfer over. They do feature a plug and play job for the most part. We will talk more about the wiring here in a bit for our installation segment. They have been given the DOT stamp of approval that does make them legal for use in all 50 states. They are fully adjustable, and then finally they are sealed up nice and tight to prevent any moisture or condensation from entering the housing over time. Now getting into our pricing segment here, guys, and the Axial Series options from Raxium will land at or around that $400 ballpark, give or take, which again does put these on the higher side of the price spectrum compared to other more basic options for the third gen Rams at home, but still, I would say very affordable overall, especially once you start cross shopping these with some of the more modern options with a lot more bells and whistles. Now, with that being said, feel free to check out some of our other options in the category if you really want to see what else is out there in regards to your Ram here at AT. But now let's shift gears and get into our installation portion of the video. And the site's gonna call this a solid 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about an hour or so to complete from start to finish. Now, just a quick heads up here, guys, there is a very small amount of wiring needed for those DRLs, basic power and ground stuff. You're gonna end up tapping those into your parking light harness to ensure that they illuminate whenever your parking lights or your headlights have been switched on. But to give you a better idea of just how these are gonna go down at home, here's an American Trucks customer to walk you through it. Check it out.
For this installation, you will need a ratchet, an extension, a 10mm socket to remove the 10mm bolts on the front of the headlight, a pair of pliers, diagonal cutters or wire cutters, electrician's tape, a metal pick, a plastic trim tool, and optionally a small magnet. To begin installation of the Raxium Axial LED headlights, we first need to begin by removing the 2 10mm bolts on the front of the headlight housing. Once these bolts are removed, We'll move to the fender liner on the underside of the car and remove the dust cover inside the wheel well. Once removed, we'll have access to a 10mm nut inside the dust cover. Using a magnet to catch the 10mm nut so that it doesn't hit the ground, we can remove the nut from the car. Once these 3 bolts have been removed, the headlight housing can be pulled forward. You may need to use a plastic trim removal tool behind the headlight to pop it loose. Once pulled free, you can see the wiring from the stock factory harness. By popping up the red push tab and squeezing the connector, the factory cable can be removed and set aside. The same is done for the factory turn signal. The factory headlight can now be set aside. If this push tab gets left behind the vehicle, it can be reused. However, if not, the new headlights will come with a replacement connector built in. We now have access to the wires on the factory harness. In order to use our daytime running lights, we will be splicing into the black and yellow connectors on the factory wiring harness. We'll begin by cutting off the spliced ends of the wires. And peeling back the shielding on the factory harness. With the wires exposed, we can use the included cable splices and a pair of pliers to splice into the factory harness in order to power the daytime running lights. The gray wire on the housing will be inserted into the terminated portion of the wire splitter. And this will be clipped onto the yellow wire on the factory harness. Once the yellow and gray wires have been inserted, the splitter can be crimped shut. You may need to use a pair of pliers to seal the crimper. Once this splitter has been attached, this process will be repeated for the 2 black wires, one coming off the new headlights and the other to the factory black wire. attach the wiring to the back side of the LED headlights. Be sure to push in the red tab on the back of the connector so that the headlight locks in. Then the headlight housing can be pushed back into the truck. Both 10mm bolts will be reinserted to the front of the headlight housing. The small 10mm nut can be reinserted into the wheel well. With the passenger side headlight mounted, we can repeat the same process on the driver's side.
Well guys, wrapping this one up here again, if you are looking to help make that front end look like new again with the added bonus of some modern LED daytime running lights, then you'll have to check out these Axial Series options from Raxium, available right here at AmericanTrucks.com.